These teams in the standings look head-to-head. They're sitting at the same 2-2 with the same losses to the same teams. The defining moment here to get above the pack for OMG and V5 starts in Chengdu in Game 1. As the audience gets rowdy,
yeah, this is when you just cut their
ignore the
mics.
LGD. Yeah.
Immediately cut their mics. They're absolutely nonsensical here.
Speaking of which, LEC audience last night was very excitable. So we're getting a bit of that here in the LPL, but
I don't want to talk about that ever since my predictions in the LEC blew up. Absolutely blew up.
That's okay. It was a night of excitement. Oh, people almost lost out on the Fnatic versus XL game. I'm sure people were happy after the end of that one, but
oh my god.
Here against OMG V5, Carson split this time around. Colonel even sitting on the line as V5. We talked heavily about the 2v2 in the mid lane. I'm curious to see how Icon starts this because it's Ignite, of course, mid, Corrupting Potion with Airy on the Zoe.
I'm very interested in the fact that we're having Klepto Karma into the Zoe matchup because oftentimes when you see Klepto, it's going up against melee champions or just matchups that you are generally very happy with it. You can go up, tether the enemy mid laner, and then just go through auto attacks. I don't see that being the case. It really is RNG dependent with Zoe. Oh,
they were expecting this.
There we go. Immediately swapped it. That's why, you know, coming into this game, I wanted to mention that, and sadly I can't do that. No one can trust me anymore. Never really just nailed down a player to a role.
Not anymore.
Expect that it's going to be, observer, get the job done. That it really comes down to the matchup itself. That it kind of reminds you of that whole idea. Remember, like I think it was season 3 when Reginald was like, yeah, I'm the official top laner of the team, and Dyrus is mid. And the reason he did that is because, you know, if you were top lane, you got the choose, pick, and ban. Yeah. That was in the old system. Okay. Not a lot of people remember. That's a different reason now. It's more so like, I just want the matchup best for me, and this is how Victory 5 has started to play.
So I guess I was right. Windy is the mid laner after all in this team, but it's been done many times by V5. Also been done a lot by FPX, who we'll see later.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, like, remember the FPX series that they had last versus LGD? Game 1, you just continuously shoved your lane and looked to rotate towards what your best matchup is. And I'm really glad to see Victory 5 doing that. It maximizes your laning potential.
It'll mean that you get a good taste of Icon's POV stream, as you can see down the bottom there, going up against an opponent in Windy that he wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, so that comes back recontextualizing my point about Klepto, because against the... That's why I didn't like it versus Zoe. Yep. But it's certainly good against Aatrox for that purpose. You can shove it in, you can trade very easily. Look at this huge wave. He can't approach this backline wave. Look how many goddamn mage minions there are. Get closer to me, please.
I mean, Curse has to walk up to this. He's already behind 4 CS, now 5.
He got it. One more. Please.
But there is so much free gold going over to Mol. He got a sack of gold that early on as well.
I'm just so sad about Aatrox not being able to see it. And that's the sadness. If you slow push in, you have that poke that you can consistently apply. Yeah. And easy Klepto proc. So that's why you need that matchup. Let's just see how Aatrox deals with this. Because you saw how LGD versus FPX went, and how many of the globally you saw Fnatic do this I think a week ago. Yeah. With the Shen versus Aatrox. If Aatrox just tries to find a way to shove and match up mid lane versus Windy, that would be his best bet. The only problem is you would have Zoe in the long lane. Yeah. And that's that comes with its own risk.
Technically, we've already seen that before. I believe it was Yuumi who actually took the Zoe to the top lane, or rather we saw Cannon mid from him as well. But not the first time we've seen these mid lane matchups go awry or astray. But in the top lane, finally getting some comeuppance. Mol just going to trade back anyway, but that's good from Curse to finally get the push out.
But he's not even. We're going to look towards what's happening mid lane.
Good is a bit optimistic, I admit.
Missed everything.
Yep.
But yeah, Mol is stacking waves here. Next wave coming up, he might just be able to get a full shove on that one and just essentially continuously apply the same pressure he had on last one. But thank God Ben was able to duck out on that axe. But he's back in.
Oh, he's going to go in for the trade now. Ben4 has the help of Windy. The flash for flash, the flash for flash. Oh, Windy just jumps on in, abscond, ducks, Sonic Wave, and Ben's done enough. This time, first blood over to Windy.
I love Ben4's Lee Sin.
Yeah.
He is one of my favorite Lee Sin players because of those highlights. So it's back, baby. It's literally highlight maker number 2.
You give the first kill over to Windy as well, Raz, and that was already a lead building in lane. Now for the Sylas, feeling pretty good here. both top and mid. This is the perfect start for V5's lanes.
And now Curse is extra sad.
Yes.
Because not only is that happening, losing out in CS because of those situations, now his jungler's lost control. You know, I wanted to be able to see Olaf take control of the matchup, but obviously if he loses out in that first act, and then Red Smite on top of that, completely got outplayed in this 1v1. Obviously turned into a 2v2 with Wendy coming in, but that's great communication, number one, and number two, just great execution.
Really aggressive from Yeehan. Mid laner and Icon had backed away and wanted to continue with some of that deeper vision. We know Olaf, how bruiser he can be in that 1v1. But you're seeing him fall behind already. So Yeehan trying to get back into this game. Look towards the bottom side, which is at a stalemate.
All right, might want to get something done here. It's going to be difficult whenever you're dealing with a Xayah Yuumi lane. Sure, she's not 6 yet, but Yuumi can just give you that speed boost that you've been wanting.
Ooh, Curse is level 6, by the way, Raz. So
I'm not too concerned about that. He's dealing with a Sheen on the Karma.
Ooh, so we look an Iceborne Gauntlet here.
Yep. So that's what you expect, you would love,
yep.
And some absolutely despise if you're going up against his Karma. And that's the shit he has to deal with. I mean, pardon my French, good luck.
Well, it's going to begin here. Level 6 on the Karma. You're going to find yourself a big kaboom
Help!
in the second mole. Lands a tether down, gets pulled back in. Curse won't be able to follow up, but still getting the trades back and forth while Karma keeps stacking Klepto.
And he has biscuits too, unsurprisingly. So just a lot he can heal through. Yeah. Not only through his ult W, but here comes a teleport just to support the play. I think they're feeling concerned about, especially the control ward inside of the pit. They don't want to auto attack it. They lose a lot out of that. Victory 5 see that extra bit of precaution and don't even want to touch it.
Well, Ben4 is walking down while he leaves mid lane on an island. Good for Windy here as he jumps back in. Icon now on his own as portal jump's been picked up by the Sylas, but you're not too threatened by that while OMG pick up the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, I love the Zoe just because of that. When the Sylas got picked in the draft, he saw the Sivir ultimate, Nautilus ultimate, Olaf ultimate is even good too.
Even Aatrox. So
exactly. If you can get that reset, you stay up alive a lot longer. Just so much I think he picked the jackpot when he picked up the Sylas. And then so Icon, I was like, all right, give me the Zoe, not only because I'm great at the champion, because we need to actually give him an ultimate that's not that good.
Yeah. If you've seen a Sylas portal jump as well, it's not that exciting. You just kind of whack him once. You're going to see it in a moment anyways when he's been able to find the shove here. That ultimate's still in hand. Well, he can start moving around the map with Ben 4. At least you can portal jump towards this red buff who's decided to slide.
I don't want to hear that.
Ben 4 is going to start picking this one away now. Yeehan's coming down. So is Curse, but I think they're a bit too late. Yeah,
great timing. I mean, Zoe had to pick up the wave. And that's always just going to be your 1-2. When top lane wave is building up like that, you lose a lot if you make the call.
Curse going to get 2v1 though as the kick comes through. They're trying to get the reset on the mole. Great flash away by V5 top laner. But Ben 4 blocked away by the minions as Mole secures the kill. Ben 4 gets low, but Yeehan, again, not here in time.
That was too close for my liking.
Final chapter in the bottom lane. Kane is going to dodge away from the spell. They go in for the flash. Y4 finds it, roots him down, and Kane drops as well as Hudie now next on the menu. But Y4 and Max have picked up enough. Another kill, making a 3-0 start for V5.
How insufferable was that? Spell shield, flashes away. Then you even had the damn Xayah ulting just to be able to get you. So I think you just lose no matter what. At least they expended a lot of resources in that name, but a lot of pressure now mounting here for Y4.
It's the third lane doing well here for V5. Now in the mid lane, granted, there is a CS advantage for Icon, but that kill just evens out the margin. While OMG trying to find these small pockets of windows here, which don't seem to be working. Icon now, it's up to him. Sleepy Troll Bubble doesn't land. Y4 and Max going to be a riptide, launch the ultimate on top of him as well. Y4 going to get ignited, but survives.
That exhaust was unnecessary. Your AD carry was completely fine, and you had full HP. But out of all of that, I love the point that you mentioned, of course, of the side lanes for Victory 5 doing fantastically well. Goes back to our earlier discussion, honestly, about just the fact that OMG thinks so much about the composition and not so much about just the lane matchups that come through.
Yeah.
I think this one was a lot better constructed to be fair to them. Because if you say, oh, you have an Aatrox, but you're going to have a bad matchup, then a lot of people are going to be like, okay, just give me the Aatrox. I need that champion no matter what I'm going into.
Yeah.
And then they saw themselves the Sivir and Nautilus, which is just great utility and wave clear. And at this point, they are willing to have pushed in side lanes to have great utility and just damage throughout the team fights. At least they have a Zoe here to have that good laning phase. I'm just concerned for a team that isn't clean. A team that doesn't have the fundamentals locked down. that so consistently they're willing to give up the early game.
Because you look at a composition like this for any other team and you say, well, okay, there's so many windows you can play through. You know how the Sivir gets late game and you know what Curse can do on the Aatrox, but here with such an early disadvantage and a 2k gold disadvantage at that as well, for OMG, getting into that mid game is going to be more difficult than we would have expected from the Olaf from the Zoe.
And one point of difficulty, too, is just how lane assignments are going to work as we go on in the game.
Yes.
Speaking about that, 11 minutes in, you're starting to see, ooh, okay, this happened.
That's a real flash from Icon as well. The final chapter not going to get the final route, but you take the summoner where you can get it.
But here's the lane assignment from OMG, sending their dual lane up top lane. You would have to assume that they want to be able to have topside control here. Okay, we're in it.
Now, there is an Iceborne Gauntlet on Mole. Can he negate the damage? Will Kane and Yeehan come in? So, Yeehan, it seems, onto Mole. They jump onto him. They send an Undertow in the Boomerang Blade. For OMG, their first kill of the game. And with turret plating up, this is a big move.
There we go. I mean, they wanted to have that first kill, so now Mole can't be there to be able to see, like, wave clear at all. You start to question who gets this one faster. The wave bottom lane doesn't look too good. There we go. We're going to be able to clear this one out. I think OMG takes first tower.
Shelly does smack it hard, though, but you're right, Raz. OMG, faster to the punch. 2 or 3 versus 3
hit
it is.
Please,
so
Kane!
OMG, hit it. There we go. So first turret goes to OMG, spread amongst 3, while the rest of V5 clear out their bottom lane turret. So a trade, but OMG back within 2k gold.
What Victory 5 can do, even though they lost the initial goal, have Shelly completely, please, follow Shelly. No, don't let Shelly die!
She's dead, Rose.
They could have let it completely push in. Aatrox can technically freeze it here. And that's the worst case scenario that so many new teams run into. They allow the enemy top laner to freeze up the wave. Now Mole is in a very undesirable situation. And I guess he's holding top lane wave. What are they doing with their lane assignments? They're sending their bottom lane back by.
And remember, that's an Infernal Dragon up as well. So if OMG have this priority and have the build up in the bottom side as well as mid with Icon, they can start contesting for this very important Drake.
Now, at least that would mean that Curse would fully shove out his wave. So he's incentivized to come out for his team. I think that's a fine idea. They don't lose out at anything at all.
Okay.
But just so people recognize that if you have your top laner freeze out bottom lane wave, then someone is going to get screwed. Usually your dual lane goes up top lane, then your top laner is like, I have no wave to farm. In this situation, your dual lane looks to the bottom side of the map, and if there was no dragon in that case, they would be like, oh, I have no wave to farm.
Yep.
But thankfully, there was an incentive to pull the top laner over.
That's right. So the wave gets pushed down in the end. Dragon does go over to V5, and that's Infernal versus the Mountain. We're a double Mountain on the menu coming up shortly for OMG, while they're still trying to grab control of this bottom side river, which V5 have just taken over.
That's great for their comp. You know, I mean, it's great for every comp to have double Mountain no matter what, but like the fact that they have Sivir, Olaf, and Aatrox in their composition.
Good point.
They have a lot to be able to pull in Victory 5 into these huge team fights and open ground in Barren River.
Yep.
And then on top of that, they just have a great way to be able to just burn through it. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from OMG if they're able to get that next Mountain Dragon, which means our first huge fight might just be around it.
Yep. So that's coming up in 4 minutes' time. So see the timer on the top left. We're being granted that extra bit of resources. Even Baron has a timer from 2 minutes in now. So beautiful thing to see, but not as beautiful as you're seeing in the bottom lane. We haven't talked too much about Y4 and Kane, who got the majority of that turret planning and who both picked up Essence Reaver first.
That's what I love to see. Not so much the supports picking it up, but I mean, what can Yuumi do really? She was probably trying to run away from the blast site, but just doesn't have the boots.
Where am I going to go?
Like,
Majais, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to be the case. Yuumi does not buy boots.
No.
Until maybe like maybe later on, but I
30 minutes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And Majai is just because you don't expect her to die. And if I'm Victory 5, you look at the screen right now. They don't see the goal lead, but they certainly see the fact that they have the advantage in both side lanes.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, Yumi's not going to die in the foreseeable future. If there are plays and they pick them out properly around their side lane, there's no real reason for Max to feel threatened.
I was pointing out before the vision control and how they can play through the side lanes. Well, for V5, still both rivers under control. And for OMG, before this game, they had very high vision clearing stats, but I think V5 are going to take that away from them as they've got full control. They can push up to the mid wave. Looks like a bit of damage done on this turret.
It's a lot of damage. That's a good example of awful lane priority and lane assignment.
Yep.
Because now Zoe's left up top lane, which was already a deficit to her, but she's just answering to pick up the wave. And I think that's okay up until she gets the Luden's Echo. But then you see the fact that Sivir only got to the mid lane wave really late. Spell shielded the Comet rather than the Q. So she got tagged and, you know, just trying to heal up herself.
Okay. That's okay, though, Raz. That
you know what?
really
we okay.
nice.
We good.
Now everything's suddenly standardized.
Don't listen to me. If you can land that, you know, never have to listen to me and you just mute me.
Literally a kid. There's no sleepy trouble bubble as well. Without first item, so Icon's starting to pop away. This will be the back of his that enables him to pick up the Luden's Echo and maybe something else on the side.
There we go. He's able to pick it up there. So pretty confident right now about the poke that Icon's able to provide. And this was before, of course, he got that major hit on towards play on the top side.
Yep.
So right now, try and position Zoe in the mid lane. I think that transition should happen because while she may not have the wave clear necessary, ooh, she's going to be able to help out fights.
Onto Y4, or rather Ben 4, doesn't matter. Will safeguard out of there while Y4 jumps onto Kane, forces the flash out of the Sivir. Trouble Bubble is just shy of hitting the 80 carry while Icon eventually jumps in, misses once again. The final chapter now onto the Nautilus, but can they get the kill? Because not enough damage here from both sides. Brushing away while Max takes a brunt. The Yuumi cat's out of the bag, as it were. V5 survive, and so do OMG. Everyone just throwing punches.
Yep, you had two of your carries up in the mid lane, losing out the tower. The fact that Victory 5 was in that aggressive position to be able to pick up the kill, they were close to being able to get that kill on the Hudie, and they didn't even have Sylas for the play. I love the position that Victory 5 are playing. They're playing a smarter macro squad with, of course, I mean, better side lane matchups.
Yeah.
So they're putting OMG in such an uncomfortable position to be in, not being able to catch Windy here.
And with no vision control on the river that I mentioned before, the side lane's so safe for the Sylas to push up. But someone like Mole as well, he can roam around. And they have no fear of getting caught out because there's always someone from V5 nearby.
And they haven't had that mid lane control for some time, which means that they're not going to be able to take up that position around Dragon. Dragon's up in 30 seconds, and they haven't been able to put down vision because they're getting shoved in through mid, shoved in through top and bottom lane.
Okay. They have to make plays like this. Max might be caught out, but the Troll Bubble does go into the 80 carry Y4. The flash burn, that's a key summoner with that Dragon up in 15.
Yeah, he really needed the flash where Nautilus is going to get that pick. Suddenly puts OMG in such a good position. Primary carry of Victory 5 cannot take this fight with how much engage is there for OMG.
Now the Feather Storm is still available, but for Y4, positioning in this next fight is going to be crucial. OMG now get the River priority and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Icon finds the target, they jump onto Ben 4. Deletion as the depth charge is a small response. Hudie front lining here with Yihan next on the menu, but the Dragon comes first.
You know what? I love POV in situations where like Curse is looking. He's like, I'm in a flank position. If a Dragon fights, I am ready. And he just like, Ben 4 gets eviscerated. He's like, I'm just going to join you guys. You're good. We're just winning the fight.
Double Mountain off the back of that pick as well, Raz. It's not going to be a third coming up next, but the focus back onto this mid lane in the next 5 seconds while we have a 4 versus 5.
I just forget sometimes how Zoe works and how she just...
Because we don't see it much anymore.
Completely changes the situation for your team. So suddenly that lead that Victory 5 had, quote unquote, gets turned on a dime, and that's double Mountain Dragon for OMG.
100% win rate in the LPL after 3 games, by the way. So. Icon looking pretty good here coming into this game number 1. Picked up the 1 item before, but now we see the Fiendish Codex getting towards the 2nd here for the Zoe in the mid lane, who is behind CS, but now that kill matches up nicely against Windy.
And that's the thing. Now we're in really dangerous waters for Victory 5 because they were bending OMG to their will, putting them on side lane at essentially forcing Zoe consistently to
like
deal
10
with
minutes in.
Exactly. Now we're in a situation where, you know, now you have to deal with third Dragon being Ocean, sure, but it's going to empower the Elder Dragon for certain. Now you're looking 30 seconds until Baron buff. So that group composition that OMG is trying to force Victory 5 into is far more effective now because Victory 5 needs to start answering these calls.
And when we start playing around the Baron, that's when Kane is just going to be so impactful as well in these fights. The 2-item Sivir about to be completed by my guess, or at least we get somewhere close with the BF sword.
As an aside, I'm pretty sad now that there's a person in the game called Kane because let's just say they're going up against Invictus Gaming, but here we go.
That's going to be confusing. Hey, Depth Charge used there by Hudie as the Aftershock to negate some of the damage while Icon comes on in. Might be caught out. The Nautilus here. He can't go golden this time around. V5 forced the mid lane turret. They forced the kill, and that's what you need to shut OMG back down.
Good timing. You need to see that from Victory 5.
Yep.
Oh, please help him.
They found Icon. The Abscond Abduct doesn't work the way he thinks it does. Icon sends another Paddle Star back, but Yihan takes damage in the process as well.
But it's nice to see interactions like that. Please help me. Well, you need to calm down.
I do not. That's insane. It's been so long since I've seen
relax.
Zoe.
You made it sound like it was 100-0.
Yeah, I did. I apologize.
You started the hell out of me.
Yeah, expecting some big things. So I'll tone it down a little because Icon does take a chunk out of Windy. That may have negated them pushing up and testing the limits around the Baron. B5 do eventually pull off it while Curse continues to push the bottom side with full vision.
Kind of reminds me, you know, you want to see a squeamish person playing against the Zoe.
Yes.
We need to see that kind of a content, you know. It doesn't mean they don't have to play a damn game of League of Legends. They just need to get hit by Zoe Q. It's what I would love to see.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually going to wait to see this 1v1 though, because remember Windy, Aatrox ult doesn't give him Revitalize, or rather the, what do we call it? Revive. That's it. Thank you so much, Raz. It's Ben 4. Might almost be called out, but Curse doesn't take the 1v1 in the bottom lane. He instead gets the turret, so another small win for OMG.
The wave clear is coming through from Kane now. So Kane's at a really comfortable position, doesn't have his Infinity Edge yet, which is something that I was about to, you know, I'll critique later because apparently he's getting jumped on.
Ooh, Kane's going to be caught out here.
Oh,
on the Hudie Prowl. That's a big hit there from Y4 as the 2 items. OMG now running for their life as Catbook comes out once again. Windy will sit on him, or rather the other way around, and B5 used a lot of ultimates to try and get that pick.
But you know what? They got the full clear through mid, and on top of that, they know Kane is going back to base.
Yeah.
They're just going to try and force the situation. They might look to pick up a fight rather than burn Baron down for the sake of it.
Because they don't do Baron that quickly at the moment. OMG have reinvigorated their front lines and are sending in the cavalry. Y4 takes himself a trouble bubble. Icon jumps in. That's a little bit more wooish, Raz, as Windy jumps on. Icon's out of the game. Now for Windy, frontlining with Yeehan. He jumps onto Hudie, who still isn't dead, but a 2-man kick onto the back line as Curse now joins the battle, but he's locked down as well. And V5 are just taking every which way.
Because they can kite right back. Y4 and Max, not just with the final chapter, but just the feathers just being completely strewn across the field. So difficult to pick the fight. You even saw the frustration there from Yeehan. They're going to try again.
But the thing is here, OMG have low health bars, but V5s are lower. Max needs to heal up, or Kane needs to come in, but he picks a turret over the Baron.
They're going to challenge it. Look at how low they are around this. Don't think they can do this without having to force that fight.
Mole has the shielding, 2,500 Raz. OMG jumping
God.
in. Yeehan wants to go and he gets it. OMG still the Baron, and V5 took the 50-50. It did not work out.
I think this is 2 major objectives in a row that Yeehan just completely stole away from the enemy.
Yes!
The Elder Dragon that happened last time they played up against Rogue Warriors, and then that.
How does it happen? We're going to see in a short moment. But all I care about is the fact that OMG is still in this game after this long play.
I'm telling you, Baron has a new son right now, and Yeehan is coming out as that man.
That adopted son.
Because he's looking really good. I'm just talking about this fight. You saw him just recognizing he could dive straight through. I called it frustration, but he found that opportunity. Almost got Ben 4 as well. But still, so hard to dive through this composition. But easy to poke down around Baron.
Just walked in.
Don't you love to see it happen?
Thank you.
Especially when it's Olaf and you're like, well, he doesn't have flash. There's no way he's going to jump. Oh, he just needed to do that.
Yeah.
He just needed a sprint.
And off the back of that play, OMG, I said they were back in the game. Gold is now even. OMG at 24 minutes in, they pick up an Ocean Dragon as well. They reset to pick up the next Infernal as a potential. Although V5 still have the push. Now for OMG, they're hitting those 2 item spikes in a game where time is their friend.
Look, at the end of the day, if this game was to be decided by like a Facebook status or something, it's definitely complicated. You get into a situation where team fights, I'm pretty confident with how Victory 5 could play them out. They've been doing a pretty damn good job so far when they pick the smart fights. Yep. That Baron buff for me wasn't that smart with how much poke can come through. And they're trying to set themselves up with another.
This will fix V5 right where it belongs. Yeehan gets caught out though. Ragnarok immediately. He gets burnt down as the depth charges onto the 80 carry. Hudie now at the front lines, but no one else at OMG are here. They're just going to leave the Nautilus. And V5, it pays off once again. OMG just walked to them.
You kind of had to expect that. If you're OMG, you want to be able to at least string them around in the top lane, but they completely ignored top lane wave, bottom lane wave, said let's group up, even though we're getting out team fought.
They only have 2 Baron buffs left. Onto Kane, onto Icon, while Curse tries to defend with the rest of the team. And Icon losing some of his brunt force here with the Banshee's Veil, but V5 still on the push here against the Baron buff minions.
And they're working on the bottom lane wave too, it seems. We're getting into a situation where Victory 5 are going to get a fight.
when does it start? These Sleepy Trouble Bubbles landing, slowing down the play for V5.
At least Icon, you know, we challenged before the game started if he can be the best player on the map as he's been in the past.
Yep.
And honestly, it seems like in this game, he has been. He has been the player that you have to get past. With OMG falling behind earlier on, still is. His Sleepy Trouble Bubbles have defined how this team has been able to come right back. So, of course, the pick onto a flashless Olaf is easy. Nautilus, you have no chance of getting away, especially with the Aftershock being expended on that one.
Yep.
And from that point forward, like grouping up when you know the enemy team has Baron buff and will have that shove, the enemy team should recognize that. OMG should be aware and worried about that one final team fight that can completely throw their Baron to the wayside. So that's why I didn't like the fact that Olaf was willing to face check without flash.
Yep.
That's why I didn't like they were all grouped up together through mid, so the fight was going to happen. So largely unprepared.
It's funny though, isn't it, Raz? Because this game, it's been defined by vision for OMG, and once again, the vision is what hurt them there, walking into a blind brush.
Yeah, whenever it comes to vision control with a poke composition, or at least a Zoe composition, then you need to really, like, nail it down.
Yeah.
I love the control ward that they have on the right side of the bush. Sure, they don't have position right now, but eventually, if that doesn't get cleared out, they can get some great Sleepy Trouble Bubbles alongside that. So here comes the push from Victory 5.
Also remember that Curse almost has the TP up. He's backing now after getting the bottom lane shoved, so more control in lanes here for OMG to extend the game while they try and ghost the brush as well. Sleepy Trouble Bubble again to pressure out.
And my eyes would be right on towards Ben Ford. How well he's playing this game out. Recognize, like the fact that his name is, you know, Ben Ford, the highlight hunter. A lot of the times he's either won or lost his team the game based off of his Lee Sin kicks.
Yep.
So I want to see if he's willing to go for it.
It's good in the last fight, but Benford might be out from his team at the moment as depth charge lands once again. Mole gets bursted down. Starting to do even more for Icon. OMG defend the top lane turret for now, but Windy just walks mid.
All right, a lot of damage on this tower.
So can OMG defend? Here for now, they have the wave clear. They're scattered around. Ben4 gets ignited. Icon starting to do the dirty work for OMG as he hits it once again, but Mole dodges this time.
They have to back away.
Ben4 here for the flank. Sonic Wave connects. Yuumi's on top
Going
of him. He
for
jumps
it.
in. The kick only onto Icon as he portal jumps, but the final chapter hits 2, maybe 3. V5 though, Curse jumps on top, starts dunking while Y4 still alive in the back line, and Mole shielding him up. Curse can't get the revive, and OMG leaving it to the top lane Aatrox, who eventually gets one, but Y4, a madman. Now onto Kane, who is the only AD carry left in this battle. Kane can't find them, but V5 come dangerously close to getting wiped out as well.
I think they're all madmen. Every single one of them. Y4 thinking he can pull off an Uzi, like what you saw last week where he flashed in and got 2 kills. He got 1 kill, got bursted down by Kane. And then, of course, Ben4, I made a mention of that fact that he can go in, look for that highlight play. He saw Banshees get expended by Icon, like, let me in there.
Yeah.
Let me in!
That could have been so much worse.
Icon reacted so quickly on it. So, boom. That was prime.
Yeah.
Needed to happen. It put Lee Sin in such a bad position. I was surprised he got out of that at all. Really quick acting there from Max to be able to not just save out the Lee Sin, but to be able to still nail down that kill at the end. So if there's anybody that's an MVP after all of this nonsense, it is Max.
Yeah.
It is the guy that cannot be targeted because he's on top of a champion.
That was such an insane fight. So many ultimates to follow. And
he was literally the only logical person in the entire fight.
Yes. Yes.
He has, wait, how many stacks he has? 21?
21
yeah.
stats?
Yeah. This is the cat you back.
Yeah.
He is the cat that has the brain. The rest of this team is working off instincts alone.
Yeah. What's Hudie left with? Well, the Nautilus is one of the 5 on OMG that just has to go with his gut instinct as well. And it was a good depth charge in that fight, but used even better by Windy. A lot to look at, but now, again, speaking of Hudie, he's been caught out as Windy's going to jump into him. Depth charge again onto the Nautilus. They've found OMG support, but he's so tanky. Takes a while to die while Ben4 jumps onto the backline, but Kane, once again, free firing, burns the GA down. Icon over the side. His Boomerang Blade starting to AoE pretty heavily. Ben4 without that key item, but now for OMG, they're down 2 members.
Yeah, they got a good wave here. Victory 5 can now go for the inhibitor, maybe more.
The Mantra Inspire onto the rest of the team. Here comes Ragnarok, burned out another ultimate. Max detached, but not for long. As V5 pick up the inhibitor, they want more.
What? Don't stop pushing. Stop this.
Well, I like it for now. Windy and Mole going to back away though, so V5 back to their senses, Raz.
That's actually a bad idea for them to even waste that much time with Baron buff on the field.
Yep.
I think they need to base. If you look at Max, technically, a little bit of help. Actually, they're going to try for it anyways.
Okay.
He's just going to heal himself. That's okay. What are you guys doing?
Just clearing away vision, but look at that very smart place ward after the scuttle expires. OMG in prime position to let this go.
For me, there's nothing that's smart about this.
Okay.
They wasted too much time on the field when they needed a proper back timing. Now they need to either readjust the wave and stagger their back timing. So they're doing that right now. Worst case scenario, OMG knows that they're basing and they'll just go for Baron.
Yep.
But seems like they bought enough time. So that's my biggest thing about teams that have such unclear comms. Are you going to go for the end game? I would say not, because we've seen teams fail off that push. Are you going to go for the Baron? Seemed like, okay, we'll clear it together.
Yeah.
Or are we going to base? Really, the answer should have just been push, get inhibitor, and base.
So we're left to a bit of a standstill where vision's still being contested in OMG. Have the wards that'll spot out if the Baron gets started from the back end. But now for OMG, big item power spikes you need to be aware of. Kane, 4 items on the Sivir with the Executioner's Calling as well. And you got similarities there for Y4, who's got the Static Shiv as his 4th item. So both these AD carries going to be menace around the Baron pit, and it's what the core focus will be in this upcoming fight.
And for me, the one thing I love about Static Shiv, in comparison to, like, let's say, the Phantom Dancer, is the fact that, yeah, Xayah just wants to push mid. That is her entire, like, prerogative. It's what she wants because they have so much control right now around Baron buff. Speed is literally all they need, so they can go and, like, let's say if they want to rush Baron right now, no vision. I was actually just one ward, but now it's been control warded. Let's see if they can pull OMG for a fight.
Remember, this fight starts, double Infernal onto B5 as they pull the trigger on the hunt. They've found Hudie once again, puts the bone plate, knocks up 3 members with the ulti, but Hudie's just down. Curse doesn't have a chance to ulti, goes into stasis. OMG are letting him go. There's nothing they can do as V5 once again have the numbers advantage.
Saddest reality there was that Curse, when he ulted him, he forgot, you know, I'm here alone. What can I do?
Yeah.
Great kick from Ben 4 to put him back into the fight. Now there's a real numbers disadvantage there for OMG.
Windy can jump in with Y4, has the Ragnarok available. Kane, the last hope here alongside Icon to burst them out and stop V5 from ending the game.
I still think this is really dodgy. Let's see if they can go for it. They're just going to rush it.
On the hunt's been popped. Here comes Windy once again with a Ragnarok into the backline. Ragnarok for Ragnarok. The better Olaf wins in the end. And now the numbers advantage goes even further astray as V5 looking to end the game. Kane can't stop this one, even with his damage. And V5 push ahead after game number 1.
That's confidence right there. Ultimately confident around their team fighting. Great job to Victory 5 around that one skirmish that got it.